Hello once again, our most devoted student. My name is Confident and welcome to our revision session as I'm preparing you for your June and November exams. And we've been looking at trigonometry, and this is a continuation of a number of lessons that I've already done. So let me continue focusing on trig, and if this is your first time coming into contact with this channel, it means you've missed out on a number of lessons, and I'll encourage you to go back so that you can get the proper foundation. Now, if you are also not subscribed, this is a good opportunity for you to subscribe. I don't want you to lose any of the videos because, as I said, this channel has you in mind, and we're going to go through some previous papers, and these are definitely going to assist you as you prepare for your exams. Now, look at this. It says trigonometry, special angles, and trig ratios. So this is the topic for today. It says determine the value of theta if theta is an element between 0 to 90 without the use of a calculator. So you see here, they do not want you to use a calculator. So what are they saying? They're saying you need to find the answer here, but you must use the concept of special angles. Now I just want to show you how you can simply come up with the special angles by drawing the two special triangles here. We've got the 45, let me call this the 45. So this is 90 degrees. Let's say you've got doesn't matter if this is the 45 degree one, so let's call this A, B, C, right? And then I will also draw the 30-60 angle. I think this will be fine like that. So what I'm trying to say here is this is also let's call it C, D, E, C, D, and E. So there is a 90 degrees. So in here I will this one will be 60 degrees. It looks bigger, so automatically that is a 30 degree. So even here this is a 45. Okay, remember, sum of angles in a triangle add up to what? Add up to 180. So how do you come up with a special angle triangle? The first things first is to identify, let me take off this for now, let me take off this angle, is to identify whenever they give you a triangle, you need to know which one is your opposite, your adjacent, and your hypotenuse. So every time, for example, you see the 90 degrees, if I give you the 90 and along the same line there is an angle, so in this case it is the 45. If they are on the same, they are adjacent to each other, so we call that the adjacent side. See, so we call it the adjacent, or we can use the letter capital A. If in the other one here, look at it, there is the 60 and the 90, so we call it the what? The adjacent. So automatically this becomes the opposite, and the longest side is always the hypotenuse. The longest side is always the hypotenuse, and this is the opposite. So if I can come in, have a calculator, and say, let me take a calculator and start with the 45 degree angle, and I'll say start with 1045 and see what it gives me. You see 1045 gives me 1. So let me write that 1045 equal to 1 equal to 1. Now I have to remind myself also of a few things. Remember the word SOHCAHTOA. It's so, ka, and toa. So what is this word saying? It says sin theta is equal to opposite over hypotenuse, right? And it says what? Cos theta is equal to adjacent over hypotenuse, and it says tan theta is equal to opposite over adjacent. You need to know this. So this is your SOHCAHTOA. So now, having done that, look at 1045 now. 1045 is same as saying, that's TOA, is same as saying, if I can say I want to identify my opposite over my adjacent here, it means I'll say 1 over 1, because if I want to get 1 is 1 over 1. Why am I saying that? This will then help me to say this is my O over this is my A, taking it from here. You see that? Are you seeing that? So it's my O over A. So in other ways, my opposite is 1 and my so it means my opposite is 1 and my adjacent is equal to 1. If I come back to this triangle, where I have got my opposite as 1, my adjacent as 1. Are you seeing that? And then I need to find my hypotenuse there. So that's how you come up with this special triangle. Now my hypotenuse, remember, it's more like AC squared, which is like R squared is equal to X squared plus Y squared. So if this was like Y and this was X, get hold of the previous lesson, you'll understand why I made it like that. So R is equal to square root of, now X is 1 squared plus 1 squared. I'm substituting. R is square root of 2. See? So here you'll have square root of 2. Already, that's a special triangle there. Let's come back to this other one for 60. I do the same thing. I look at the one from tan, sin, and cos. That will give me the simplified version of tan 60. So let's start by, of 60. Let's start by tan 60 equal to square root of 3. It's a bit complicated. Let me leave it out. Let me go to cos 60. Just look for the simpler one. There it is, half. If I say sin 60, you see it was going to give me root 3 over 2, but I want cos 60 is the easier one. It gave me a half. Are you getting that? So now cos 60 here is equal to what? 1 over 2. Now, like I did previously, you check what is cos. Cos is A over H. There it is. So what you do here, you say this 1 is equal to A, and then this 2 is equal to H. Are you seeing that? So here H is equal to 2, and then A is equal to 1. Then it's our duty to find the opposite side. Are you seeing that? So how do you find the opposite again? Trigonometry, which says R squared is X squared plus Y squared. So in which here is your X, is your Y, is my R. So my R is 2 squared is equal to X squared, which is 1 squared plus Y squared. So you take 1 to the other side. 2 squared is 4 minus 1 is equal to Y squared, which is 3 is equal to Y squared. You see that? So if 3 is equal to Y squared, how to get Y? You square root both sides. You don't have to say plus or minus in this case. So square root of 3 is equal to Y. So I come here and say Y is equal to square root of 3. You see that? That's how you come up with these special triangles. And then you are able now to simplify, to say, if I say to you here, what is cos 45? Look at cos 45. According to this triangle, cos, remember cos is A over H. What is my A? It's 1. What is my H? It's 2. So cos 45 is 1 over square root of 2. But look at the calculator. I want you to pay attention now. Let me call this NB. Alright, look at cos 45 and you'll see what the calculator is going to give you. If I say cos 45, that's when they will find out if you use the calculator or not. You see, it gives me root 2 over 2. But the cos 45 from my calculation, it says 1 over root 2. Just see this. If I say 1 over square root of 2, do you see that it's root 2 over root 2 over 2? Why? Because the calculator does rationalize. So you can actually later use a calculator. When the calculator gives you root 2 over 2, you know that it is actually 1 over root 2. Same thing, if I can say to you, find sin 45, you can actually use a calculator. And then if you say sin 45, let me do that, sin 45 equal to, see, root 2 over 2. When you see that, you must know that it is 1 over square root of 2. But you can check it again with the triangle. It's 1, sin is O over H, O, which is 1 over H, which is 2. You see that? Now, similarly, you can come here, apply a calculator, and no one will actually pick up that you use a calculator. For example, we did cos 60, let's find sin 60, and let's find tan 60. But we want to prove that we never used a calculator. So now, what am I going to do? I'm going to take a calculator. Look at this. Take a calculator and you punch sin 60. Sin 60 equal to root 3 over 2. So let me write it down. When it's like this, you write it as is. What about tan 60? Let's check tan 60. Here, tan 60 equal to root 3. So I just got root 3, but you just, because there must be a fraction, you just say over 1. You see? Let me check with my triangle. For example, we started with sin 60. Remember, sin is over h. Sin 60 is O, which is root 3 over h, which is 2. See? There it is, root 3 over 2. What about tan 60? Tan is O over A. O, tan is root 3 over A, which is 1. So you see, so you can use a calculator in a way, even if the calculator, if the question says don't use a calculator. Now let's change this and erase this 60, and remember this side is 30, so that we want to find, in this case, cos 30 and sin 30, and let me try that, tan 30. Alright, and then we are going to, in a way, use our calculator. But okay, let me start by using this triangle without the calculator. Tan 30. Now if I say tan 30, you must know that the sides have changed. So now this becomes, now you see it interchanges. This is no longer my opposite. So when it's opposite, you change here to say no longer the opposite, now it becomes the adjacent. Why? 90 degrees and the 30, they are on the same line, so these are now adjacent. You see that? And then this one is no longer the adjacent, is now the opposite. So if I say tan 30 and 10, we agree that is O over A. Where is my O? It's 1 over, where is my A? A is root 3. So now look at this. I'm getting tan 30 is 1 over root 3, but the calculator cannot give me 1 over root 3. But if I punch tan 30, that's where you have to just be careful. Tan 30 is equal to, say, root 3 over 3. So this is same as root 3 over 3. So what am I saying? Let me open a small window here. What am I saying? If I give you 1 over root 2, you must know that it's root 2 over 2. And if I give you 1 over root 3, you must know that it's root 3 over 3. Once you master these, you can use your calculator without being detected that you used a calculator. Just mastering this. So what about cos 30? You can then use a calculator and you can simplify cos 30. You don't even need to prove that you use the calculator. Cos 30 is root 3 over 2. You can write it like that to say this is simple. Root 3 over 2 is simple root 3 over 2. Are you with me? And then what about sine 30? You use a calculator again to say, oh, you can just use our diagram here. Sine is O over h, so sine 30 is O, which is 1 over h is 2. You can test that with a calculator. So these are the special angles that I wanted to bring to you here. Are you with me? But now, how do you then use them to simplify this? It says determine the value of theta. If theta is an element of 0 to 90 degrees, calculate this. So when they give you this question, tan 30, cosec, and that, what you do, say equal to, here, equal to, now tan 30, you put a calculator and say what is tan 30. Take a calculator and say tan 30. They say no calculator, but use it. Look what I'm getting now. I'm getting root 3 over 3, but you know root 3 over 3 is 1 over root 3, because that's what we got for tan 30 there. you don't write what the calculator is giving you. You write the original version. Are you with me? So that is that, and then you say dot cosec 60. Now remember cosec, you need to understand now cosec comes from, let me write it down here, cosec is equal to 1 over sine. See, cosec theta is equal to 1 over sine theta, which means if I say I must get in a way same as saying 1 over sine 60. See what I'm saying there? So what you do, you take a calculator and then you have that 1 over sine 60. In other words, it's as good as saying sine 60 and then you invert. So let me do that. 1 over sin 60 equal to, says 2 root 3 over 2. But now let me first use this. Let me say sin 60 and ask myself, what is it? You see, it's root 3 over 2. You see the right one? So if sin 60, this is the best thing to use. Sin 60 is root 3 over 2. Then you say, therefore, cosec 60 is equal to, you invert it, which is 2 over root 3. Remember, the calculator cannot have a square root at the bottom. So that's what you do. You say here 2 over root 3. See that? And then you say what? Divided by what? Cos 45. You take your calculator and you have cos 45. Let's have cos 45 and sin 45. But if you are used to them, you are not going to need a calculator, because look, cos 45 is 1 over root 2, sin 45 is 1 over root 2. But your calculator won't give you 1 over root 2. What will it give you? It will give you the rationalized, which is root 2 over 2, but you write 1 over root 2. So if you say here cos 45, see, it's root 2 over 2. Even sin 45, it's root 2 over 2, but don't write that. You write 1 over root 2 times 1 over root 2. That's a sign you never use the calculator. Then when you simplify this, remember here, the top one here, when you're multiplying, it's 1 times 2. It's same as saying 1 times 2 over, at the bottom, root 3 times root 3. Seeing that? All over, at the bottom again, 1 times 1 over root 2 times root 2. And as I said, use the calculator, but use it in a right way. Like, they can't pick up if you use a calculator, for example, checking that root 3, what is root 3 times root 3 from, like, for example, here, square root of 3 times square root of 3. I need to just check, is that number 3? Even square root of 2 times square root of 2, is that number 2? So here I can say 1 times 2, it's 2 over root 3 times root 3, it's 3. See that? And then from there, what do I say? Divided by 1 times 1, it's 1 over square root of 2 times square root of 2, it's 2. See that? Which is equal to, now this is same as saying 2 over 3 divided by 1 over 2, which is equal to 2 over 3. Then you say times, you invert. Take that, when you change from divided to multiplication, what you do, you invert the next fraction. The 2 goes on top, it's 2 over, and the 1 goes at the bottom, over 1. That's how it's done. And then from there, 2 times 2, it's 4 over 3. Then the answer becomes 4 over 3. But do you leave it like that? No, just test. Just test your answer. Go to the original here and you put the actual as is and test and see if ever it gives you that final answer. Alright, you don't have just to leave it like that. For example, look at this. I'll have my 1030. See that? Times cosec. You can't enter cosec in the calculator, but you say 1 over sin 60. See that? That's what you do. And then go to the bottom, then you've got cos 45, and then you've got what? Sin 45. Just be careful, open and close the bracket equal to there, 4 over 3. If it matches, you know that you're in the good, you did it right. Okay, so that is how in this thing you solve these kind of questions. As I say, very important concept, and the concept here that I'm bringing is how to use your calculator to your benefit without having to kind of cram. Once you know the special angles that I brought in here, once you know these special angles, once you know this, you don't have even to worry using this. You don't have to use this. You just have to follow on your calculator. Let me just do this last one, and then I'll continue this lesson again in the next part 2. Look at this. In triangle PQR, there is PQR, and R is equal to theta. There is our theta there. See this? This is our angle theta. PQ is 5 units, the other one is 12 units and 13 units. Then what are they saying here? Write down the values of what? 1.2.1 sin theta. When given a question like this, there's two things that you need to definitely put into place. The first one is your SOHCAHTOA. SOHCAHTOA. You need to know that. Alright. Secondly, you need to come to your triangle and identify which one is your opposite, your adjacent, and your hypotenuse. Now, I said the longest side is always the edge, the hypotenuse, and then look at this. Which one is my adjacent? Always follow the adjacent. Now look, 90 degrees, and look, I have a line on it. I must look at the line that has theta in it. So when you identify your 90 degrees, look at the line with the same angle, and this we say like that. When they are on the same line, the other angle and the 90, we say they are adjacent to each other, and then the other one automatically becomes the opposite. See that? Then you're able now to say sin theta, which is sin theta is O over H, and then cos theta here is A over H from the SOHCAHTOA, and then tan theta is, say, O over A. That's how you write it. Now you can write the answer already. The question says calculate the values of the following sin theta. That's the first one. What is sin? Sin theta, you can see it says O over H. What is O? It's 5 over H is 13. See that? Then the next one is, they are saying, let me leave that one sec. Let's find tan theta. Tan theta, there it is. Tan is O over H. What is my O? It's 5. What is, my O over A, which is 5 over 12. And then they tricked it a bit to say sec. Now you must know that sec is linked to cos. Right. So here, if I say sec theta, you do the opposite. This goes to the top, this goes to the bottom. It is H over A. It's an inverse. These are reciprocals. So what is H? Is 13. What is A? Is 12. Then you get the answers. That's how you simplify these. So guys, I'm going to come back to this section. As I said, there's quite a lot that I need to show you. Look at this. We're going to be simplifying this in lesson number 2. It says determine without the use of a calculator. Without the use of a calculator. Without the use of a calculator. Simplify without using a calculator. That is the first part. I come again here, show you again how to solve this. This is the second part, and move on to a most important one where it comes to trig applications and trig ratios, where you're solving these, the angles of elevation, depression. Look at this. I'm bringing you all this, how you can solve such questions. Look at this. All this is to make sure that you prepare thoroughly. And then lastly, I'm going to show you the graph sketching, how to sketch the graphs. You see, they give you the graphs. For example, here it says sketch the graph of f and g on the same set of axes, and then there is the graph, and then there is another one. Use the grid on the grid attached diagram sheet on the diagram sheet to draw the following graphs. See, 6 marks. You need to know how to approach such. You see, and then not only that, I also show you that. So this is a must-watch lessons, because it prepares you for your June exams. Then it comes to saying, if you're not subscribed, if you're not following up on the channel, if you're not part of the family of the 24-minute lesson, it means you're missing out. Why? Because being subscribed, what it does is YouTube sends you some notification every time I'm posting the next video. So for example, let's say you have been watching this video, you don't know when is the next video coming, but now if it comes and you're not subscribed, you are not going to know until you start searching again, or maybe you forget the whole thing. And look, this thing costs your final exam, because I'm preparing you for a distinction. I'm preparing you to get the best mark ever in your exam. I want you to smile at the end of the year, at the end of your final exams in June, and say, I made it. Why? Because you took the time to subscribe and follow up every lesson that I had as far as this mathematics and science, by the way, is concerned. Not only maths, also check out the science. So guys, I will encourage you, if you're not subscribed, just do that. Also, share it with your friends, with your colleagues, that share it on social media. This is for everyone to benefit from. And also, lastly, leave me a comment if ever there's some sections that I'm leaving out. We've come to the end of our lesson. Thank you.